All right, welcome to the Off the Rails Sports Podcast. I am your host, John, and if you could hit that like and subscribe button, it means a lot to us. And let's recap what happened at Wimbledon yesterday. You know, we had the men's singles finals, probably the biggest tennis match of the year, and we had the two favorites, Carlos Alcaraz from Spain, and Yannick Sinner from Italy, and they were replaying their classic French Open final from 5 weeks ago, in which Sinner had a 2-set-to-none lead, and Alcaraz stormed back to take the match and the championship. And I was watching. I'm going to talk about some different things that maybe most don't. You know, obviously Sinner won in 4 sets, but I was looking at the way they were comporting themselves before the match, and Alcaraz really seems to embrace the big minute moments. And he was walking around the the Wimbledon grounds like the Beatles coming back into Shea, right? I mean, that was his place. And Sinner, I wouldn't say he was uncomfortable, but he just wasn't as uncomfortable embracing the moment like Alcaraz did, right? And I told you last week I bet Sinner. The reason I bet Sinner, I thought he was playing well. I know there was a possible injury. But when these matches happen, I look for the guy who's got a little chip on his shoulder. And that chip is losing that horrendous French Open final, right? And I'm sure that was burning in him every day. Obviously, Alcaraz is better on grass than Sinner is, but yesterday wasn't exactly the case. And I was stunned. And I will tell you this, going into the U.S. Open, I would bet Alcaraz. He interacts with the public better. Wimbledon, there was a crowd, but it's not as ferocious as it is in New York for the US Open. And I think that's going to be a big thing. You know, like we saw Jimmy Connors, excuse me, Carter, uh, for years feeding off the crowd. I think that's what Alcaraz is really going to do. Now, Yannick Sinner is the defending champ there in New York. I like Alcaraz there. It's a little early for the prediction, but then the other thing I noticed is they say they're going to start at 8 o'clock. This is West Coast time. The doubles match was finished 30 minutes before, and 8 o'clock comes and 8 o'clock goes. 8:05, 8:10, 8:15, 8:20. Oh wow! Look at that. Wow, the match finally starts, and ESPN broadcast it. I'm gonna really get brutal here. I don't know what the hell they got 3 people in the booth for. It is. I think we've proven over time, especially with football, the third guy just gets in the way. And I'm not really. I mean, Patrick McEnroe's okay. John McEnroe is great. Chris Fowler, I think that guy, they're just paying him because they got a big contract with him because of college football. The guy is not a very good tennis announcer. He is not Cliff Drysdale. And at the end of the day, ESPN can do what ESPN wants to do. And they can pay him and he can act like he cares and he's good and he's terrible. Look, why don't you just go back to college football, do your 4 months a year, get your kid hired as a senior reporter for ESPN. Hey Jeremy, how you doing? And maybe you can have some more kids that can come into the fold in the reporting world. Okay? That's just how you are. So we get the rematch. Alcaraz wins the first set. Sinner had a 4-2 lead, and I was watching it, and I was like, "Oh, here's the moment. Yeah, he can finish out the set. He's got a break." Alcaraz ripped off 4 games, and I kudos to Sinner. I thought this was going to break him. I thought, might as well tear up my ticket. No, no, no. Sinner rallied, won the next 3 sets, 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. His return game was phenomenal. It reminded me of Djokovic and Agassi. I mean, this guy, Alcaraz had 15 aces. He was firing some serves. He had 53% of his first serves in, 7 double faults. But Sinner was making him pay on those moments. And at Wimbledon, the serve's a huge thing. Don't get me wrong, but I do think For certain individuals, and I'm going to say Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, return is so huge. And I think that's why Sinner won this match. He played magnificently. And, I've been pretty harsh on him in the past about his doping. And I think the WTA gave him a pass because I think he was on PEDs. Maybe he still is. I don't know. I don't trust anything that comes out of ATP, WTA, whatever it is. Okay, just give me some more alphabet soup. At the end of the day, the guy doped. People like Kyrgios, you know, sly eye. I do disagree that the broadcasters never bring this up during the broadcast. I guess it's in the past, and let's call it what it is. They want access to Sinner if he wins. You want access to the Wimbledon champion. All right. Kudos to Yannick Sinner, first Italian to win Wimbledon. Alcaraz, in the last three Wimbledons, he's only lost one match. What a stellar, stellar record. I was kind of thinking he was going to be like Bjorn Borg and run off five in a row, but it didn't quite happen. But we will see. We're going to get our return game at the U.S. Open in about a month and a half, and we'll see what ends up happening there. All right. If you could, hit that like and subscribe button. It means a lot to us. Leave some comments, and we'll see you soon on Off the Rails Sports Podcast.